Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. This is Virtual Karate TV. My name is Kristen, and today we have a very special guest from the USA, Ariel Torres. He's on the U.S. national kata team. He's been a Pan American champion and currently ranked in the top 10 of the WKF listings. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a complete honor. Thank you so much for having me.
And as a U.S. competitor, how has your transition been from training?
Before I used to focus a little bit more on, since we had a competition every month or every week, I had to travel to a new country and then come back home and then travel again. It was minor adjustments. I had to think a little bit more of technique and be like, oh, what can I adjust slightly for the next competition? What can I feel? What emotions can I control? What things can I control in these events leading up to here? And how can I not get hurt? How can I not, I tried to avoid anything that would get me hurt. I would try to avoid making risky plays in events. I would just focus on let me improve my technique and let me keep doing what I've been doing just a little bit better. I wasn't trying to take huge leaps. I was just trying to, little by little. Now that we don't have all these competitions, I've been able to take a massive step back in the sense of being careful. And I started getting strength training. I started going to the gym about 2 or 3 months ago, but I've been doing weight training ever since the pandemic started at the dojo, because the dojo was closed except to myself and one of my training partners, Grace Lau from Hong Kong. We were training for 8 months straight, like strength training and kata every day. Obviously, kata was every day, but we had a strength training program that was made by one of the coaches from the national team of Hong Kong. He developed a training program for both myself and Grace, since we're training partners. And I was able to get a lot stronger. I mean, everyone actually always told me that once I took off my gi, they were like, dude, you're just so skinny. No one was able to be like, nah. If he takes off his gi, he's going to be buff and bulked. And every time, it's a very scrawny guy. So, I mean, it never bothered me. It was kind of cool. Like, oh, yeah, I'm very powerful, I guess. But now, since I started doing the whole weight training thing, I've been getting a lot stronger. I've been getting a lot faster. And the reason why I couldn't do weight training back in the day is not only about getting hurt, but as your body changes and gets bigger and stronger and faster, your technique must adapt to your body. So if my body was this scrawny before and my techniques were like this, example, now my body got bigger and wider, now my techniques are going to have to take some time to adjust to the body that it got. You see, so we couldn't afford that in our part. And we had to play a very safe, just technique, keep the same technique, go focus here so you can be a little stronger, focus on this technique here so you can be more powerful, more stable. It was that. Now, that step back, we can focus on getting powerful, getting more strong, adapting my technique that I've had and I've polished for the past years into the new body that I'm building now. Plus, mentally, I feel so much better. I've learned so much from my students that I teach online. I've learned how to teach better. So from teaching a lot more, I've learned how to really understand my techniques and the path of each technique it takes. Usually you just do it. But how often do you really explain to someone, hey, this is what you have to do in order to get that? So it makes me take a step back and be like, how do I do that? Okay, and then I have to think how I do it so I can give it to my the kids I'm teaching. And then that information that I'm giving to them is a deeper level of understanding for myself, which in turn helps my karate tremendously. And I couldn't do that back in the day because I had to focus on myself. I had to just, Ariel, compete. It was very difficult to even teach. But, like I said, step back has helped me take huge leaps forward.
And you've been competing for so long, and you've had so much success. And when you reflect back on your early years in karate, did you find that you were very successful in early competitions, or did you find that it took some, specialty training and some extra years of practice to get you to that level for competition?
You say successful, like I don't think I really don't think I've been that successful, for the amount of hours that I put in and the amount of time I put in. We all like this way of life or this sport, or however people want to interpret it. For me, is both a way of life and a sport, because that's what it is for me. And for the amount of time I've trained and all the sacrifices I've made, I don't think I've been that successful. There's just so much, like now that I put my goal was when I was a kid, hey, I want to be world champion. I'm not even close to that. So, no. And then now I want to go to the Olympics. I have a chance. So if I am able to qualify for the Olympics, I can say I was successful with one thing. Now, apart from like results that were a big deal, just in 2019, I got my first one. You see, so at the beginning, no, very bad. I didn't even win in kata. I mostly won in kumite. I was more of a kumite athlete up until I even made the U.S. team in kumite first in 2012, the Junior Pan American Championship. I went for kumite, not for kata. And in 2013, I went for kata, but then I went for both. It was not until my sensei was just like, "Hey, Ariel, you need to pick kata." And I was like, "Wait, what? Why?" And he just told me, he's like, "Are you trying to do this for the rest of your life? Like, are you trying to kind of like live off of karate for a long time?" And I was like, "Well, man, dude, like that'd be my dream. If I can live off of karate forever, that'd be great." So he had this whole he had this whole huge plan made. I didn't even know about it until I got older. And it was basically, listen, do kata, because with kata you can enter different organizations of events. You can go to different events that are not only USA karate events, they're different organizations, different type of karate. More like not karate, more like just martial arts. So you know how people do like karate combat and they're kumite players and they're doing karate combat for fighting? Think about karate combat for kata. So it's not karate, it's just martial arts, right? So I would go to these martial arts tournaments, and I was like, I think I was 16 at the time. And if you win the event, you get money. You get like $200, $300, I don't know. It was all different. Sometimes it was even 1,000. So, this was coming from my family couldn't pay for all these events. My family couldn't pay for anything. I mean, we would pick up money in the street so that we could go to U.S. Open. Literally, we would pick up money in the street every week for like I think it was 2 or 3 months because we couldn't afford it. I mean, come on, it was back in the day. It was even worse. And no matter how many jobs we did, paying the rent on school, private schooling, because I was trying to learn. I mean, my parents wanted me to be a doctor and a lawyer, and my sister is a doctor. So between the private schooling that we were getting, it was very difficult to come up with the funds for karate. So we couldn't even, it was more like favors for us. So we ended up picking up in the street. We make the funds to travel, and we did, and I did. And I always lost. I mean, I when I went to Vegas, I didn't even win in kata. I won in kabuto. And that didn't even make sense to me because I never practiced kabuto. I just learned like every weekend. But it is what it is. I guess I was good at it. But I never won in kata or kumite until like 2010, 2012, so 2014, 13. 3 years I didn't even get a medal in the U.S. Open. I won the Junior International Open thing, but not in the U.S. Open. But what I'm trying to say is in the mixed martial arts competitions, I would make money. And this money I would bring to my family. I would give to my parents to help pay for rent, to help pay for schooling, to help pay for anything. I would help as much as I can. And before I knew it, I was going to the bigger world tour tournaments in the mixed martial arts world. And I would be winning $1,000. And then kids wanted to train with me online. This was before the whole pandemic thing. We're talking about like years ago, like 4 years ago at least, or 5 years ago, where I would go to these tournaments and these kids were already used to online training. And then I would get students and I would teach them online. And I was able to make all my funds through teaching online and traveling across the country, competing in these kata divisions, winning the money, using the money to then go to USA karate events, using the money to then go to Junior Pan American events, which were very expensive, using that money to go all over the world for WKF style karate. Before I knew it, I was buying my first ticket to Okinawa, to Japan, for my first ever Olympic competition. And it's like I said, successful. I definitely doubted it because then I went to Japan, I lost round one. It was very, the Japanese, it was just incredible. So I was like, oh, well, that was my experience. And I go again, I lose. It's just, and then, and all that losing, it hurts because you're like, man, what? I'm losing so much. Like, am I that bad? So I started giving myself, like little goals. Like, okay, if I can pass round one, we're good. That's a good thing. If I lose to, I can lose to anyone except Japan, and I can lose to anyone except like the top 10 in the world, like the Spaniard guy, the Venezuelan guy, the Italian guy. If I lose to anyone, like if I lose to any of those, it's fine. If I lose to anyone else, not a good day. So I would go to these competitions and I would win. I started winning one round, round two, round three, and then I would lose to Japan. No big deal. Round one, round two, I would lose to Japan. Okay, fine. Round one, Japan. Okay, out. Before I knew it, I got a flag on Japan, one flag. But it was like a kid. It was like a 16-year-old boy. I was like 20 or something. I don't remember. It was a flag, but I was happy. I was like, okay, we got a flag. We got a flag. And before I knew it, the point systems came into play. And little by little, the Japanese, I started beating a lot of the Japanese. I started beating a lot of the top athletes. And before I knew it, I became Pan American champion. And then it was like, whoa, yes, good. And then many people started saying like, oh, yeah, you have a really good chance for the Olympics now that you won. I was like, guys, I've been, my goal, I really, I don't know if it's my ignorance maybe, but I really thought when I was in high school that I was going to go to the Olympics. When they announced it, the first time they announced it, like, hey, karate 2020, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go. You know, I guess many people did say that too in their head because they didn't know the whole qualifying process. But I immediately said, I'm going to go. I don't care how difficult it is. And I took action. I just didn't say, I'm going to go. I took action. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but I'm going to go to all these Karate 1 events. And before I knew it, oh, the karate events are going to be points for the Olympics. Perfect. Now the judges all have seen me a million times. Great. I mean, it was hard because I'm talking about like, there were moments my bank account were just negative, absolute like negative. And I had to hope that I could teach a lot, go to these mixed martial arts competitions, make money so I can fund the next event. And it was like that. And I had to win to fund it. And before I knew it, I was traveling. I started placing very well in these events. I started beating a lot of the Japanese. And before I knew it, I was the one guy that oh, that's the guy from the US. Oh man, I got him. And it was, I used to be like that. I was like, oh, that's a dude from Japan. Like, oh man. And now I was the other way around. And I liked that. And I fed off of that. And it helped me keep growing. But to answer your question, no, when I was a kid, I didn't feel very successful at all at the beginning. It was just more like very fun. And I like to fight and I like to do kata. I like to learn new kata when I was a little kid. And as I got older, I just wanted to be on the US team. And I got on the US team. And then I wanted to get a medal in Junior Pan American Championships. And then I got it. And then before I knew it, I was on the senior team. I didn't expect it. It was more like, oh, I'm just going to do it because I'm going to do it. And then I ended up on it. And then before I knew it, I was like, whoa, I'm a member of the senior national team. And a lot of the coaches knew I was very young. So they would talk to me and be like, hey, you're a member of the senior team. You got to behave a certain way now. And I was like, what, really? And like, yeah, you're not a kid anymore. Like, you're not a junior. I mean, you're a kid, but you're not a kid. I was like, what? Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. I guess I was getting nurtured a certain way ever since I got on the senior national team, and I've changed. And you can ask anyone on the national team, like, how was Ariel when he started on the senior team to now? And they'll be like, well, big difference, yeah. But no, not successful when I started. Now, if you consider like the Pan American champion, yeah, extremely happy. But that's not the goal. That was never the goal. The goal is go into the Olympics. The goal is to one day be the world champion. If I consider myself successful in one thing, it'll be teaching. I've taught so many kids from around the world, from Canada, from Mexico, from Brazil, from literally from England. Currently, I have like a few students in the UK. And my biggest success has been teaching them, putting them in their national teams, making them, people that are remembered in their federations. And like, whoa, that kid has improved so much. That to me, honestly, is my biggest success. And I get goosebumps because it's like, wow, I was able to make a difference. I wasn't just, doing my kata and training and got better. No, but I was able to help people. I was able to help people grow. I was help people to find their passion in karate, because some people just do it because they do it and then eventually they lose their passion. But when the right sensei or coach comes in, I never consider myself a sensei to them. It was just more like a coach. I want to guide them in the right direction of karate. And, it sparked something inside of them. And you can see like, whoa, they're motivated. They have a different way of viewing karate, not only competition, but karate as a whole. So that would be my biggest success overall.
And it kind of makes me chuckle when you say, you question your success, because as someone who has been in the USA Federation, who has gone to nationals year after year, I see the way that particularly young athletes look at you, how they just admire you when you walk by, how they are glued to, your tatami when you're in the kata ring. And so that honestly just really made me chuckle. But what do you say to these kids that are now growing up watching you? And, you may question your success, but I can see on their faces that they look up to you, they admire you. What advice do you have for them?
That's hard because I'm not, I do speak a lot. but like when advice. Okay, so let me put it like this: when up until I made the U.S. national team in 2017. In 2016, you have to qualify nationals to go to senior team trials, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone knows Tom Scott, and if someone doesn't know Tom Scott, that's a problem. So everyone knows Tom Scott, right? And Tom Scott, man, he's the guy. That dude, I admire him. I admire him still to this day. And he was my first run in kata, right? And I won round one against Tom. And before I knew it, I was in the semifinals. I didn't expect, like I said, I was a kid still. And I won the semifinals, unexpected. And I make it to the finals. And Tom goes out to me. He goes like, great job, dude. I'm going to, thank you. Going on. And then whatever, he goes into rapid charge. And before we knew it, I'm changed out. I'm getting ready for, I got my tracksuit. I'm walking around. And Tom sees me and goes like, Ariel, good kata, man. Awesome job. And I was like, wait, like now this is my role model speaking to me. And I was just like, whoa, yo, to my team, did you see that? Tom just talked to me. Tom just spoke to me, like, and I still feel like that to this day. Like we both won Pan American champion, right? And Tom was like, Ariel, yeah. Like, I was like, did you guys see that? See how Tom talks to me? Yes. And before I knew it, like, Tom is my friend. And I worked so hard to get to that level, to the point that he remembered me. And he remembered me, and now he's my friend. And it'll go like this. Antonio Diaz, right? So I won Pan American Championship against Antonio. And when I was a kid, I was like 9, 8 years old. I remember the reason why I wanted to compete was because I saw him do kata. Like, on YouTube, I was learning kata, like Sensei YouTube, and I was like, oh man, I want to learn this kata. And before I knew it, I was watching Antonio Diaz compete. I was like, oh, this guy's so cool. And then I was like, wait, he's what? He's the best? No way. And then like I loved him. And he was the first guy I ever watched on YouTube. And growing up, I saw him in Vegas in person. I was like, that's Antonio Diaz. Took a picture with him, like very close to like half his hip, like that, very happy. I was like, yeah. He gave me a high five. Yes. And before I knew it, I was competing. My dream was to compete against him. And I didn't think it was going to happen because he was already getting ready to retire because the Olympics wasn't a thing. And he's like, okay, I'm going to stay until Olympics so I can compete against him. And I did one time, and it was in the semifinals of Pan American Championship. I lost. I was like, oh my God, yes, I competed against him. And I was so happy. And he remembered me. He started saying hi to me. When we would see each other in events, he would say hi to me. Hey, hi, Ariel, how are you? He was like, bro, he's talking to me. Yes, he knows my name. And before I knew it, it was like this one quote. I don't know who said it, but it was like, train so hard until your role model becomes your biggest rival. And that's something that stuck by me, because before I knew it, Damien Quintero was my rival. Before I knew Antonio Diaz became my rival. Before I knew it, all these people that I admire, I'm on the same level, or we've been like that. It doesn't matter how it's been, but we've been there. So what do I say to these kids? I mean, to keep them inspired. I mean, the one thing I've always done is I never give up. I kept pushing. Find someone that you admire so much that you want to be like them one day, and before you know it, you'll surpass them. Like I wanted to be like Antonio, and I don't know any guy competitor that does kata my age or growing up doing kata that it would have said, no, I don't want to do kata like Antonio, because that's a lie. I mean, I'm pretty sure 100% of the guys that did kata would want to be, I want to do kata like Antonio. Yep, role model right there. And he wasn't. The way he spoke to people, the way he acted, the way he was always so composed, so kind, so humble is the word I'm looking for. I was like, I want to be like him. I really want to. And when I got my chance to sit down and talk to him, I'm just like, wow, this guy, this is the type of champion I want to one day be. So what do I say to those kids? Hey, train hard. Don't give up. There's so many obstacles that will come your way. And if you just let them stop you, that's where your journey ends. If you overcome them, it's an endless, beautiful journey that will change your life. If it wasn't for karate, I wouldn't have met so many incredible people around the world. I wouldn't have felt the incredible sensation I feel changing people's lives, literally, because karate has changed my life, and I in turn have helped people change their lives, the way they view it, the way that mentality, that mindset has helped them persevere and push forward in any aspect. School, karate, any other sport. There's a different mindset that karate gives to us. So just don't give up. It's hard. It's hard for everyone. But if it was easy, everyone would do it. So, keep working, find that role model you want to be like one day. And before you know it, if you stay true to your word, before you know it, you never know, you'll surpass them, because we get older, you get older. The only difference is, as some people get older, they get weaker. Some younger kids get older, they get stronger. So it's a matter of that time. It's a matter of time. You just keep going and you persevere, and you will eventually surpass them. But you can't stop. That's the only thing I have to say to them. Yeah.
You mentioned that some of your favorite moments in karate have been meeting these role models. Is there one moment to you that sticks out above all the rest as, a highlight, your favorite memory from karate?
Oh yeah. So everyone knows Damien Quintero right now. He's number one ranked in the WKF or Olympic. I forget which one it was, but he's number one in one of those. And in 2018, we were in Chile, in the Pan American Championship in Chile. I had competed against Damien Quintero in the finals of the U.S. Open. So he kind of knew who I was. Not who I am, but he knew my name. So in Chile, I saw him and I was like, hey, man, let's take a picture. Yeah. And he sat down next to me in Chile. And I started talking to him. And I was like, yo, this dude's so. Let me ask him all the questions I have. So I asked him questions about when he lost back in 2013, about when he won back in 2011 in a certain event, when he was part of the UAE national team rather than Spain, the funding problems they had in the Spaniard national team. I asked him all sorts of questions. I had like a whole thing. I knew everything about him. I knew everything. I was like, dude, how'd you feel when you won this event? Like, remember when you were in Brazil in 2010 and you slipped when you kicked in Super MP and you lost to that Brazilian guy? How'd you feel, man? Were you mad? Or when it was 3-2 in this event, like, how did you feel? And that dude was just like, and he just answered right away. Like, he was, how they have that little accent because English is not the word. Like, because I'm Cuban, so I know exactly how it is. And he would reply every time. And I was like, oh man, when is this gonna stop? Let me just keep going, because I don't think I'm ever gonna. And I just hammered the dude for like 2 hours. It was like a straight up professional, high level, in depth interview of how do you feel about this loss, this win, this round, this person. I was like, dude, yeah, and that one guy that you went against in Germany in 2012, that it was 3-2. You did this one, he did that one, and I just beat him. Did you see that match? He was like, yeah, I saw you. You've improved so much from when I last saw you in Vegas. Boom, shot up. I was like, no, done. Dude, I'm going to beat you one day. In my head. I was like, you're my favorite. You're my favorite. And if anyone ever asks me, Ariel, who's your favorite athlete? I always say, now it's Damien Quintero. Because that day that he sat down next to me and spoke for so long, like, anyone would be annoyed with a random dude just asking them questions. I mean, I wouldn't, because I like talking about karate. But anyone else that I've seen and spoke to in that level, they really don't seem that keen of these conversations, and they don't really recall so much. Like, if you ask them, hey, how'd you feel when you won this event at this time, at this, and it was here, and it was like 3-2, were you happy? Is it, oh yeah, I don't remember so well, but like, come on. If you ask me when I won Pan American Championship, I'll tell you all the details. I remember that 100%. But if you tell me, come on. And I can tell you things of what 2006 when I was competing. Like, if you're really, really in love with it, you'll find these people. And I feel like Damien Quintero had that one quality that I have that I haven't found in anyone else that does karate. So I was like, you're my favorite. So yeah, that was definitely my highlight in 2018. I remember that day. I was like, oh man, I have to improve. And before I knew it, I stepped on the tatami with him in a bronze medal match in because in the U.S. Open is one thing, but stepping in the tatami in like a Premier League or a Series A in the medal match, just you versus him, that's a bigger deal. And I did, and I lost, but it was there. And then he followed me on Instagram, and that was a big deal. That was like, yes. I was like, yes, dude, yes. I was like, that's a win. That's a win in my book. Because I'm like, that's a win in my book. So yeah, that was definitely a highlight.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. It's been wonderful to see you again. And thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in. Thank you for watching Virtual Karate World, and we will see you next time. Thanks. Thanks, Ariel.
No problem.